Rentaru had faced 100 heartbreaks when confessing to girls. Hoping to change his luck, he turns to the Shrine of Love. During a break at school, he opens up to Asakawa, a girl he has feelings for. At first, she praises him, only to later express her disdain at the idea of dating him. This shatters Rentaru's spirit. The next day, his friend, whom we'll call Sidekick, tries to lift his spirits. Sidekick playfully mocks Rentaru's continuous failures, jokingly dubbing him a flirt hero. Welcome back to Anikazu, the ultimate destination for all your anime insights and stories. Today, we're diving into a tale of love, choices, and destiny, one that'll have you questioning the very nature of soulmates. Buckle up, because this story is a roller coaster of emotions. But before we start, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to join the Anikazu family and get ready for a journey through the world of anime like never before. Without further ado, let's get started. A nostalgic journey into the past unveils that Rentaru's initial brush with love and confession came astonishingly early. At the tender age of 8, Sidekick, eyebrows raised in astonishment, labels him as the flirt legend of their time. Yet, deep beneath the layers of youthful confessions, Rentaru's true yearning is simple and pure. He dreams of finding that special someone with whom he can interlace his fingers, feel the warmth of their palm, and sense the rhythmic cadence of their heartbeat. Sidekick, finding it hard to fathom Rentaru's romantic misadventures, especially given his undeniable popularity and striking good looks, playfully teases and flirts with him. With a wink and a grin, Sidekick advises him to keep his chin up and navigate the tumultuous waves of high school love with strength and resilience. Distraught, Rentaru visits the Shrine of Love, pleading for a high school girlfriend. A mysterious voice offers assistance. To his surprise, the deity of the shrine reveals himself. The god assures Rentaru that his true love awaits in high school. Misunderstandings ensue when the god describes the destined girl as hot, leading Rentaru to think he's discussing food. The deity elaborates on the concept of soulmates, explaining the electrifying connection they feel upon meeting. However, men realize this connection gradually. Rentaru, with a hint of skepticism clouding his eyes, delves deeper, seeking more clarity and truth. The god, taking a deep breath, lays bare a profound revelation. Not every individual walking this earth is destined to find their soulmate. In the grand tapestry of life, only a select few, those touched by fate's fortunate brush, are preordained such a unique connection. But what follows next leaves Rentaru's heart pounding and his mind racing. The god, with a weighty pause, discloses the unimaginable. Rentaru doesn't merely have one soulmate waiting in the wings. No, there are 100 potential soulmates scattered throughout his high school, each one tied to him by the strings of fate. Struggling to digest this overwhelming information and with suspicion brewing in his mind, Rentaru, with a mischievous glint in his eye, half-jokingly warns the deity. He threatens that should this revelation prove to be a fabrication, he won't hesitate to set the very shrine they stand in ablaze, ensuring the god feels the heat of his wrath. A mere month following that profound revelation, Rentaru steps into the bustling corridors of high school, armed with excitement and apprehension. But fate, always unpredictable, wastes no time. As he navigates the sea of new faces on his inaugural day, an unintended collision with two young girls interrupts his stride. Their eyes lock, and in that fleeting moment, an electric connection surges between them, one that words struggle to encapsulate. Rentaru's heart quickens, and the deity's prophecy resonates in his mind. Could these be two of his fabled soulmates? With curiosity piqued and hopes heightened, he musters the courage to approach them. The girl with vibrant pink hair, playing up her distress, theatrically clutches her ankle, seemingly injured from their encounter. A pang of guilt crashes over Rentaru, the weight of possibly harming one of his potential soulmates threatening to drown him. However, as he hovers over her with sincere worry painted on his face, the pink-haired maiden's eyes dance with mischief and joy. She revels in the genuine concern he displays, perhaps seeing it as affirmation of their predestined bond. Despite the unfamiliarity, a pang of guilt strikes Ajo as he witnesses the girl in apparent agony. The pain he inadvertently caused a stranger burdens his conscience. As this drama unfolds, another girl, having watched the unfolding scene, experiences a surge of jealousy. Desiring a slice of the attention, she too artfully claims to have sprained her foot. With each feigned injury, Ajo's self-reproach swells, and he begins to reprimand himself, almost theatrically smacking his forehead in anguish. Detecting his genuine distress, both girls swiftly shed their charade and rise to his aid, their faces etched with concern. But, as if by instinct, they once again descend into their ruse, contorting with exaggerated pain. Recognizing their need for attention and comfort, Ajo, ever the gallant knight, offers to whisk them away to the infirmary in his arms. Yet, as he bears their weight, an uncanny realization dawns on him. Rather than being a mere burden, these girls seem to be subtly offering him support, creating a curious interplay between the savior and the saved. On their way, the pink-haired girl nudges closer to Ajo, claiming she needs more stability. This leads to a spat between the two girls about who is truly more off balance. The situation peaks in absurdity when both girls hang on to Ajo simultaneously, leaving him in sheer disbelief. Ajo insists they prioritize the infirmary, and amidst the chaos, they exchange introductions. They're Inda Karain and Hanazono Hakari, both from Ajo's class. Their conversation gets interrupted by two passing girls who share a local legend. If one confesses love while presenting a four-leaf clover from the school courtyard, the love is bound to be reciprocated. Hearing this, both Inda and Hanazono suddenly remember urgent tasks they had to attend to. After the bell rings, signaling the end of a long school day, Ajo finds himself sinking into his desk chair, musing about his unexpected foray into being the teacher's assistant. It was supposed to be a simple task, but it had morphed into an extended, almost comical, marathon for those elusive contact lenses. The irony wasn't lost on him. While the whole world might be in the search of grand answers, here he was, on all fours, squinting for a tiny piece of transparent material. These unforeseen 4 hours meant he lost the prime opportunity to reconnect with the two girls from the morning's encounter. Disappointment tinged his thoughts until, by chance, his gaze drifted towards a window. There, in the waning sunlight, he spotted the two figures. They were engrossed, heads bowed, sifting through the greenery, fervently searching for the fabled four-leaf clover. A curious parallel formed in Ajo's mind. Just as he had committed hours searching for something so small yet significant, these girls were exhibiting a similar dedication. He couldn't help but wonder, was this tireless hunt for the legendary clover an indirect testament to their feelings for him? The thought warmed his heart and made the exhaustive search for the contact lenses seem worth every second. Walking across the school's courtyard, Ajo musters up the courage to confront the peculiar situation head-on. Spotting Inda, engrossed in her thoughts and seemingly distant, he makes his way towards her. Her startled expression is evident as he draws closer, her fingers fidgeting with a clover leaf. Inda, Ajo begins, his voice gentle, trying to read her. "I noticed you looking for the clover earlier. Is there a specific reason?" She looks away momentarily, her usual confident demeanor wavering. "It's just a silly superstition," she deflects, attempting to sound casual. But Ajo isn't fooled. He sees the unease behind her eyes and senses the weight of an untold story. In Hanazono, he probes further, wondering about the other half of the intriguing duo. "She had to take a bathroom break," Inda says a bit too quickly, her eyes darting away, betraying her nervousness. Seeing the tension in her posture, Ajo hopes to break the ice. "You look like you could use a drink. Can I get you something from the vending machine?" he offers, pointing towards the nearby dispenser. Her first instinct is to snap back, the remnants of their earlier tension making her hesitate. But seeing his genuine concern, she lets out a sigh. "All right," she responds, her tone softening. "But only if it's a soda." Ajo nods, feeling a silent victory. Their initial clash of personalities might have been rocky, but he senses a budding understanding. This could be the start of smoothing out the wrinkles in their complicated relationship. Soon after, Hanazono reemerges, curious about Ajo's late presence at school. He offers her a drink, but she's focused on the intimate implications of sharing it. As they bicker over the drink size, an accidental spill ruins any chance of an indirect kiss. Hanazono, in an unexpected turn, takes Ajo's hand and confesses her feelings, claiming it was love at first sight and hinting that she's not the only admirer. Overwhelmed, Ajo is processing this when Inda interrupts, spilling an assortment of juices she had brought. An altercation ensues between the two girls, culminating in Inda's ambiguous stance towards Ajo. After an intense moment filled with both tension and romance, Ajo finds himself reflecting on the nature of fate, love, and choices. It's a predicament that no one would ever want to be in. In a heart-to-heart with the deity of love, Ajo learns the gravity of his situation. The revelation that choosing one soulmate might lead to the death of the other weighs heavily on him. He grapples with the idea of polyamory, considering it as a solution, but the reactions of Inda and Hanazono make it clear that the path won't be easy. However, Ajo's earnest intentions shine through when he presents both girls with four-leaf clovers, a symbol of the effort he took to understand their feelings. This gesture speaks volumes about his commitment and affection for both of them. Hanazono's willingness to share Ajo's love is a testament to her deep feelings for him, and while Inda's initial resistance may seem cold, her eventual acceptance of the situation reveals her own love and maturity. The decision to embark on this unconventional relationship isn't without its challenges. But Ajo, Hanazono, and Inda are united in their determination to find happiness together. As the story progresses, we're reminded that Ajo's journey is far from over. With 98 more soulmates yet to be discovered, his life promises to be filled with love, heartbreak, and growth. Ajo stops in front of a lamppost and chats with it. As he does so, a boy comments about finally having a girlfriend after facing many rejections. He's excited that he'll be attending school with her, something he has always wished for. As they approach, others find it odd that Ajo is talking to a lamppost. However, he brushes it off, attributing his distracted state to his newfound relationship. The girl finds this endearing and offers to talk whenever he feels lonely, but in typical tsundere fashion, she stops mid-sentence and acts distant. Love triangles, that's basic. Quadrangles, not even close. Dive into a world where love knows no bounds, and one boy's quest for a simple kiss turns into an epic adventure of romance and hilarity. Hanazono approaches and takes the girl's hand, making Ajo blush and lose composure. He recalls that most men love the simple act of holding hands. Not wanting to be left out, he reaches for Inda's hand. Inda, however, claims she's just humoring him to gain his trust, intending to shock him later on. As it turns out, Inda is an electrodeer with electric capabilities. Though she's standoffish, deep down, she has genuine feelings for Ajo. The feelings are mutual, with both Ajo and Hanazono thinking of it as the happiest day of their lives. The trio chat about the lovely weather, catching the attention of a passing lady. Surprised that the younger generation is talking about the weather, she tries to address the girls formally by their last names. Hanazono, however, asks to be addressed by her first name, Hikari. Ajo, embarrassed, obliges and is called Rentaro in return. Inda hesitates but eventually follows suit, asking to be called Karen. They continue their banter with first names, drawing attention from other students. Upon entering the school, they witness a student fleeing from the strict vice principal. Haraki mentions that the vice principal will chase rule breakers relentlessly. Once caught, the vice principal administers a punishing kiss that causes physical damage due to its intensity. Because of her speed and methods, she's nicknamed the Sonic Witch. The conversation takes a romantic turn when Hikari asks Rentaro if he's ever been kissed. Since he hasn't, Hikari and Karen subtly compete to be his first. During lunch, Hikari offers Rentaro some of her homemade omelet, which he praises as the best he's ever had. Karen, not wanting to be outdone, offers a cookie but accidentally pokes Rentaro in the eye. The scene ends with comedic tension, hinting at the love triangle's complications. With the plan set, Rentaro puts it into motion. He turns his back, blaring the song My First Kiss, while Hikari and Karen decide their positions based on the roll of the dice. They then send him a message to signify they're ready. Rentaro, with anticipation, rolls his dice, counting the seconds corresponding to the number shown. He rolls again and puts the mask over his eyes. Using the second roll's number to determine his starting point, he begins to slowly walk towards one of the girls, the tension palpable. Not knowing who he'll approach first makes the situation even more exhilarating for the trio. Relying on his senses and the beats of the song, he finally reaches one of the girls, leaning in for a soft kiss. Then, he carefully moves to the other side, giving the second girl an equally gentle kiss. When the song ends and the mask comes off, Rentaro is greeted by the blushing faces of both Hikari and Karen. He's unable to discern who he kissed first, and neither girl gives away any hints. The atmosphere is filled with a mixture of excitement, nervousness, and satisfaction. Though the girls had been competing fiercely for Rentaro's attention and affection earlier, this experience creates a bond between them. They realize that instead of letting jealousy and rivalry dominate their interactions, they can share unique moments together as friends and as part of Rentaro's life. The day continues, with the trio navigating through school, their friendships deepening, and the complexities of their unique relationship becoming both a source of amusement and of genuine affection. They face challenges, make memories, and learn that love can take many forms. But amidst all this, the mystery of the first kiss remains unsolved, adding a playful undertone to their interactions. It seems that each attempt at Rentaro's plan ends in some unexpected mishap or awkward situation. Whether it's a gust of wind, a curious cat, or simple misunderstandings, the universe seems to be conspiring against their attempt to have this mystery kiss. After the third failed attempt, Rentaro, Hikari, and Karen collapse on the grassy school grounds, exhausted from the emotional roller coaster they've been through. The afternoon sun casts a golden hue on them, and the trio share a moment of laughter at the absurdity of their situation. Rentaro found himself amidst an emotional whirlwind. The setting sun painted the sky in shades of orange and pink, providing a serene backdrop to the intense conversation unfolding between him and his friends. "Why is it so hard for us to just have a simple kiss?" he lamented, his hands animatedly describing his frustration. From the side, Karen's eyes gleamed with mischief. A smirk formed on her lips as she retorted, "Perhaps, Rentaro, the cosmos is trying to send us a message. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe the universe is whispering that it's not quite the right moment for such an act." While Rentaro was still processing Karen's statement, Hikari, with her perpetually radiant aura, decided to join the conversation. Her voice, always filled with hope, added another layer of perspective. "Or maybe," she began, her eyes reflecting the hues of the setting sun, "it's the universe's way of reminding us that sometimes the journey, the story leading up to an event, is far more poignant than the event itself." Rentaro, absorbing the wisdom of his friends, took a deep breath, letting the air fill his lungs before exhaling slowly. His face, which earlier mirrored confusion and frustration, now showed signs of realization. "You might be onto something," he responded thoughtfully. "All this time, we've been chasing after this one singular moment, this one kiss. And in doing so, perhaps we've overlooked the beauty of the moments leading up to it, the joy in our shared experiences and the memories we've been creating together." The trio, each lost in their own reflections, allowed a peaceful silence to envelop them. The world around them seemed to stand still as they stood shoulder to shoulder, gazing at the horizon. It was in that tranquil moment that they truly grasped the essence of their journey, understanding that sometimes the build-up, the anticipation, and the journey towards a goal can hold more beauty, more depth, and be far more rewarding than the achievement of the goal itself. They then decide to spend the rest of the day just enjoying each other's company, walking around the school, sharing stories, and having a good time. The subject of the first kiss becomes a fond memory of their adventurous day, and they decide to let fate take its course. In the days and weeks that follow, their relationship continues to deepen and grow. The unique bond they share becomes the talk of the school, but the trio doesn't mind. They've found something special, and they cherish every moment together. And one day, when they least expect it, amidst a quiet moment shared on the school rooftop, the long-awaited first kiss finally happens. But who kissed whom first remains a secret, one that they decide to keep just between the three of them. As the sun began its descent, the day's antics left Rentaro exasperated. He exhaled deeply, feeling the weight of the day's events. Who knew a simple kiss would be this complicated? He mused. Kiran rolled her eyes. That plan was doomed from the start. Hiraki shot back. It would have worked if not for you. The air around them thickened as the tension built. The duo's bickering grew more intense until Hikari blurted, "You're always hurting Rentaro." Kiran's glare grew icier. "He's mine," she retorted. Rentaro, caught in the middle, raised his hands. "Stop, both of you. This is on me. If I'd just kissed one of you, none of this would have happened." Overwhelmed with guilt, he sprinted away, cursing himself for being such a clueless boyfriend. Concerned, Hikari and Karen pursued him but stopped in their tracks as they spotted the vice director closing in on Rentaro. In an unexpected twist, she lunged at him, her intentions clear. Just in the nick of time, Karen pulled her away, pinning her down in a wrestling hold. "Unhand me. That's against the rules," the vice director protested. Karen smirked, so is planting a French kiss on a student. Hikari, seizing the moment, theatrically opened the window, feigning a call to the education department about the perverted teacher. This charade sent the vice director into a panic, revealing her bizarre secret of hiring young escorts for her odd kissing escapades. Rentaro, free from the vice director's clutches, was met with concerned looks from the girls. Trying to ease the tension, he confessed that he staged the day's events to help them get along. In a heartfelt moment, he shared his fear of his first kiss being the wedge between them. Moved by his sentiments, the girls suggested a solution. Hikari proposed, "Why not share the first kiss?" The trio pondered over the logistics. "I initially thought of it," Rentaro mused, "but figured you both wouldn't be on board." A shared look between the girls spoke volumes. As they slowly leaned in, Rentaro's quirky side emerged, likening the moment to a UFO summoning. Amidst giggles, the trio shared a memorable first kiss. The next day at the library, Rentaro found the girls engrossed in cookbooks. Hikari was eager to expand her culinary skills beyond omelets, while Karen was engrossed in recipes to grab your boyfriend by the stomach. A playful tug-of-war over the book ensued. Rentaro stepped in, reminiscing about their shared kiss, hoping to remind them of the bond they shared. Amidst the lively atmosphere of the library, with the girls engrossed in their spirited back and forth, Rentaro's wandering eyes found solace in the aged cover of a book simply titled Love. The gentle wear on its spine and the softened edges hinted at the countless readers who had sought its wisdom. Drawn to it, Rentaro extended his hand. As his fingers skimmed the surface, they unexpectedly met with the delicate touch of a mysterious girl. Their worlds momentarily merged as their gazes intertwined, each set of eyes unveiling depth and tales yearning to be told. An undeniable, electric charge passed between them, forging a fleeting yet powerful connection that hinted at the dawn of a new chapter in their lives. From unexpected intrusions to the ever-elusive quest for a simple kiss, today's journey through 100 girlfriends that really love you truly delivered another roller coaster of emotions. Who knew love could be so complicated and comical at the same time? As Rintaro navigates this overwhelming world of affection, we can't help but wonder what lies ahead for our protagonist and his endearing entourage. A monologue commences, with the princess elaborating that her fate was predetermined from her very birth. She was destined to lead a life of solitude. She had already come to terms with this destiny. Then, the scene shifts back to the library where the two of them accidentally collide, feeling that peculiar jolt once again. Rintaro senses that this girl is yet another one of his numerous kindred spirits. However, he was unprepared to encounter another one of them at that particular moment. Consequently, the girl begins to depart. He suggests that she could take the book instead. She opens her book to a specific page and requests Rintaro to read something from it. He discovers that it is written that she is the proprietor of those lamps. He inquires if she serves as the librarian there, and she responds by presenting another passage from the book. She confirms that Rintaro's assumption was correct. When he notices her silence, he recalls that talking is prohibited in the library. He deduces that the girl is communicating in this manner because of the library's rules. She then gestures towards passages in the book again and asks what he is searching for. Rintaro communicates through gestures, expressing his interest in romance novels. Subsequently, she questions why he isn't speaking, but he returns the same inquiry to her. The girl points to passages in the book, apologizing for having annoyed him, and confesses her difficulty in conversing with people. So, he initially considers calling someone else for assistance. However, instead, he approaches her and offers an apology, admitting that he hadn't realized she was shy. He then asks for her help once more and seeks book recommendations, particularly focusing on romance novels, his preferred genre. He explains his desire to find a romance book with a satisfying ending where the characters overcome difficulties and live happily ever after. Finally, he requests a suggestion from the girl, and her eyes light up when she realizes she can be of help. However, she becomes overly enthusiastic and selects more books than necessary. This startles him, but she quickly apologizes for her overenthusiasm and suggests he take the book he wants. Rintaro insists on reading all the books since she went through the trouble of selecting them. He proceeds to borrow them using his library card, but when he asks for the card, the girl explains that it would take a week to issue a new one. Rintaro regrets having to deal with such bureaucracy. The librarian clutches his chosen book and approaches him, offering to lend it to him. Initially, Rintaro insists that the book is hers and not from the library. However, she persists in extending the book towards him, and he realizes that she is indeed lending it to him. Rintaro feels delighted and realizes that he hasn't asked the girl's name yet. She presents her identification, and he reads her name, Yoshimoto Shizuka. Furthermore, he discovers that she is from the same class as him. Rintaro apologizes for not remembering her and explains that he hasn't memorized everyone's faces yet. Hikari then takes out a book that aims to help increase femininity, piquing Korane's interest. Korane joins them and asks if they are still engrossed in cookbooks. However, Hikari clarifies that she was actually exploring books that could teach her how to make him happier, while Korane admits she was merely seeking to expand her repertoire of dishes. This revelation stirs Rintaro emotionally. Upon returning home, Rintaro starts reading the book that Shizuka had borrowed. The book recounts the tale of Princess Lo and her loyal knight, Kamakuru, and the challenges that befall their love story. The princess emphasizes the importance of Kamakuru's unwavering loyalty and decorum, bestowing upon him the title of a knight. He solemnly pledges to protect her at any cost, marking the beginning of their journey together. One fateful day, a dragon threatens Princess Lo's life, and her devoted knight rushes to her rescue, defeating the monstrous creature. In the aftermath, they share shy glances, signaling the start of their transformation from princess and knight into a couple. However, Kamakuru's family intends to marry the princess to a man of higher status than him. He attempts to reach her to prevent this, but he is intercepted before he can take action. Kamakuru reminds her of his vow to protect her with his life and contemplates how they can defy their destined separation. Rentaro finds himself rooting for their love, hoping that destiny won't harm it. As the first volume of the book comes to an end, Rentaro is left without knowledge of the rest of the story. After reading, he ponders the concept of fate once more and recalls that soulmates must stay together, or else they face dire consequences. The following day, he greets Shizuka and expresses his gratitude for the book, mentioning that he read the story in a single night. Rentaro notices that Shizuka has a book with an identical cover to the one she had borrowed. Shizuka lends him this book as well, and Rentaro thanks her for providing him with the continuation of the story. He expresses his eagerness to continue reading but feels compelled to find a way to repay her kindness first. So, Rentaro asks Shizuka to accompany him to a particular place, while Hikari and Kurain continue their usual quarrel. Along the way, he buys Shizuka a soda as a token of gratitude for lending him the books. He inquires if she typically reads a lot, and she nods in agreement. This revelation helps him understand why she's familiar with such a fantastic series like the one he was reading. He explains that he's read many novels before, but this one is unique because, in addition to featuring a captivating love story, it's wrapped in an epic adventure. Rentaro admits to panicking when Kamakuru and Lo had a disagreement in the story. Shizuka reveals that this is also her favorite part and confesses that she has immersed herself in those texts numerous times. Rentaro now comprehends why she always seems to find the right sentences to respond to him. She's genuinely well acquainted with the book, allowing her to locate sentences quickly. Rentaro tells Shizuka that he hasn't read the same book with such intensity yet and finds it fascinating. However, Shizuka modestly dismisses the praise, explaining that reading the book has become a natural habit for her over time. The fantasy world within the book has been her only constant companion because she's never had a real friend. She expresses gratitude to Rentaro for not ignoring her, even though she is who she is. However, Rentaro is puzzled and questions why he would ever avoid her. As Shizuka looks down and falls silent, Rentaro asks if she could borrow the first volume of the book again, assuring her that she will return it as soon as possible. She agrees and borrows the book, and upon returning to the library, her colleague notices her excitement. He inquires if something good happened, but she brushes it off, explaining that she's just fulfilling her duty. While organizing the shelves, she discovers the book Rentaro had intended to pick up that day. She reaches out to retrieve it. A few days pass, and Shizuka ends up seeing Rentaro with his girlfriends. Hikari comments on how tired he has looked recently, and he attributes it to being very busy and going to bed late. They both become suspicious and blush, but they assure him everything is fine. Hikari kisses his face to share her energy with him, and Shizuka watches from a corner. Rentaro hugs Hikari and thanks her for her help, with Kurain attempting to get in on the affection, mentioning that she has a lot of energy to share with him. When she goes in for a kiss, she accidentally headbutts his chin. She apologizes, but he appreciates the gesture and calls her a war goddess. Seeing Rentaro with the girls, Shizuka regrets that he already has a girlfriend and feels inferior once again. She remembers a time when a group of young people called her problematic for always communicating with that book. They asked her to speak like people, and when she didn't comply, one of the girls slapped Shizuka, saying she would never be able to speak if she continued with that stupid thing under her arms. This memory makes her feel that Rentaro or anyone else wouldn't have time to talk to a stranger like her. At the end of the day, she finds herself alone in the room until Rentaro appears. He expresses his desire to repay her kindness by borrowing books from her more often. Rentaro inquires if Shizuka has a cell phone, to which she confirms that she does. He then asks her to install a particular application on her phone, assuring her that the application is safe as he has tested it beforehand. Shizuka installs the app, and Rentaro sends her a PDF file of the first volume of her book. Shizuka finds this puzzling, as she was certain that the book had not yet been released as an e-book. Rentaro explains that when she selects a portion of the text, a voice will emanate from the device and convert the text to speech. Additionally, the software will read aloud any text she inserts into it. Shizuka realizes that Rentaro has transferred the entire book into that device, word for word. He goes on to clarify that when she communicates in her unique way, they would both need to focus on the book, which could detract from the essential part of a conversation, looking into each other's eyes. However, if she uses this application, they can have a more conventional conversation and maintain eye contact. Rentaro expresses his understanding of how difficult it must be for Shizuka to communicate, and mentions that he decided to implement this solution to facilitate communication for her without requiring her to speak. Rentaro expresses his hope that this new communication tool will help Shizuka. He then requests her to write something on the device to test it. Shizuka writes that she loves him, but tears well up in her eyes, and she apologizes, asking him to ignore what she just confessed. She acknowledges that he already has a girlfriend waiting for him. However, Shizuka explains that she simply wanted to reveal her feelings before that happened. Rentaro begins to grasp the situation and realizes that he genuinely loves her, not just because she may be his soulmate. Overwhelmed with emotion, Rentaro hugs Shizuka and confesses his love for her as well. She insists that destiny keeps them apart, but Rentaro counters by saying that if destiny is in their way, they should break it so they can be together. He then introduces Shizuka to his other girlfriends and requests their permission to have one more. Karine is immediately against the idea, but Hikari praises Rentaro's attitude, appreciating that even after finding new love, he doesn't want to abandon them. Rentaro explains his intention to love all three of them equally, and promises to demonstrate it through his actions. Karine questions if he will truly uphold this promise, and Rentaro affirms that they can hold him accountable for it. He even states that if he fails to keep his word and hurts any of them, he will redeem himself by committing seppuku, as someone who harms their loved ones doesn't deserve to live. In this way, the love triangle from before transforms into a love rectangle. Introducing his new partner to both ladies, Karine initially perceives her as quite ordinary. However, they are taken aback when she replies to their hellos with a synthesized voice from her smartphone. The revelation is unsettling for them. Moreover, Rentaro shares with Shizuka that he has uploaded her classmates' names and data from Circlet Love Story Volume 2 to her device to facilitate her communication. He goes on to clarify for the others that Shizuka utilizes lines from her cherished shows to converse. He even addresses the audience directly, suggesting that those curious about the method should refer to the anime's third episode. Kairin, however, chastises him for his meta-narrative antics. In the midst of this, Shizuka articulates their names in a mechanized tone. Rentaro elaborates on the girl's quirks, describing her as an avid reader and librarian who exhibits adorable toe wiggles when engrossed in a book. He observes that her toe movements vary with the emotions evoked by the narrative, likening her joyful wiggle to a wagging dog's tail, while fear induces a tremble in her feet. Rentaro finds Shizuka's involuntary display of sentiments endearing, though she is mortified upon learning these traits of hers were noticeable. She was oblivious to these nuances, and Rentaro doesn't stop there. He remarks on Hikari's habits, noting how she innocently places her hand over her mouth when in deep thought, escalating to nibbling on her fingers with increased focus, an act Rentaro deems irresistibly alluring. Much to Hikari's astonishment at such an unintentional gesture, he doesn't spare Karine either, pointing out her instinctive hair twirling when flattered, a gesture he finds particularly enchanting in contrast to her typical demeanor. His acute observations have left all three feeling quite self-conscious. Rentaro presses on, describing how Hikari pouts when they kiss and how Karine becomes so lost in the moment she forgets to breathe. Shizuka, intrigued by these intimate details, inquires whether Rentaro has shared a kiss with them. Intrigued, Shizuka uses the phrase exchanging kisses, leaving Rentaro momentarily perplexed, uncertain of its implications. Shizuka quickly recovers from her faux pas, apologizing for her lapse in decorum, yet she infers from the conversation that they have indeed kissed. When Hikari inquires if Shizuka harbors a curiosity about kissing as well, she reveals that fate, in the form of dew, has ordained her to maintain her purity until her marriage. Rentaro respects her stance, assuring her that he's willing to wait for the kiss until she's comfortable. This exchange doesn't go unnoticed by the other two, who now find themselves yearning for his kiss. Subsequently, the girls vie to feed Rentaro, each claiming they had the idea first, creating a playful contention while he was content with his bento. In the midst of this, Shizuka withdraws from the group, maintaining a distance and observing without participation. The debate between the other two escalates as they draw closer, prompting Rentaro to caution them about the risk of an accidental kiss given their proximity. Noticing Shizuka's absorption in her own world, Rentaro empathizes with her potential struggle in immediately bonding with the group. Yet he remains optimistic, ready to navigate the complexities of forming new friendships. He muses on the tendency of people to force certain behaviors when meeting someone new, as a defense mechanism to avoid revealing true thoughts that might trigger disdain or disapproval in others. Rentaro suggests that it's less complicated to share one's true self with someone who has already seen a glimpse of your genuine emotions, as it overcomes the fear of judgment and simplifies the relationship. So, Rentaro pulls out a deck of cards and proposes a playful twist on the traditional game of Old Maid, suggesting they introduce a playful punishment, The winner gets to tickle the loser. He reflects that laughter is a natural pathway to revealing genuine emotions, and he coins the initiative Operation Tickle Laugh Bonding. The girls quickly concur, the prospect of Rintaro's tickles spurring excitement. Observing their eager anticipation, Rintaro senses an alliance forming against him in the game. As they begin, Rintaro emerges victorious in the initial round, with Karain as the unfortunate loser. She prompts him to carry out her penalty swiftly, attempting to mask her delight at the prospect. As Rintaro begins to tickle her, she claims immunity to the sensation. Nevertheless, he perceives her stoicism as a playful challenge and escalates his efforts. Karain responds by playfully collapsing onto the floor, inviting him to continue in a manner that teeters on the edge of propriety. Deciding to retreat, they reset for another round, which Rintaro again wins, this time leaving Hikari as the loser. She provocatively prepares for her punishment, asking Rintaro to be gentle, eliciting Karain's protective instinct to ensure things remain decent. As Rintaro tickles her, Hikari bursts into a mix of giggles and involuntary moans, later admitting her vulnerability to tickles. Rintaro reassures her, and a flustered Hikari steps back, humorously confessing that the tickling was so intense it almost overwhelmed her completely. In the third round, fate again favors Rintaro, reaffirming his role as the tickler. He can't help but feel that perhaps the universe has conspired for him to engage in this lighthearted torment with them all. The game continues, and this time the cards dictate that Shizuka is the one to face the playful consequence. Rintaro, visibly eager, is intrigued at the thought of eliciting a laugh from the typically composed Shizuka. When he commences the tickling, she strives to maintain her poise but eventually succumbs to laughter, which uniquely emanates through her electronic device. The synthetic sound takes Rintaro aback, but Shizuka candidly shares that, though it may seem melancholic, it's her sole avenue for such expression. Rintaro, charmed by her resilience, reassures her of her cuteness and returns to the tickling. The other girls watch on, realizing that despite their efforts, Rintaro has yet to lose a round. Having achieved their initial goal of being tickled by him, they now set a new target. They want to tickle Rintaro in return. The girls watch, competitive fire in their eyes, perplexed by the chaos they're witnessing. Fate twists when Rintaro finally loses in the fourth round, with Shizuka emerging as the victor. Encouraging her to embrace the opportunity, Rintaro braces himself. The others look on with a tinge of envy as Shizuka approaches, yet she opts for a gentle, restrained style of poking. Rintaro's laughter surprises even himself. He hadn't anticipated being ticklish. Hikari, baffled by the mild approach, believes Shizuka is wasting an ideal chance to explore Rintaro's reactions more boldly, reflecting that an accidental overstep would likely be forgiven given the situation. Hikari speculates whether Rintaro is drawn to Shizuka's reserved nature, observing Shizuka's canine-like face, her delicate movements, and soft voice, contemplating the authenticity of such mannerisms. To Hikari, Shizuka embodies a sense of vulnerability that evokes a protective instinct, likening her to an adorable stuffed animal worthy of care. Acknowledging Shizuka's potent appeal, Hikari recognizes her as a formidable rival, far surpassing Kairin in this unexpected competition. As the tickling session concludes, Rintaro admits to his own amusement, overcome by laughter to the point of needing a break, and he excuses himself towards the bathroom, still chuckling from the playful encounter. Witnessing Rintaro's hasty retreat to the bathroom, Hikari teases, wondering aloud if his urgency was due to overwhelming joy. Meanwhile, Kairin, casting a stern glance at Shizuka, inquires about her reserved actions during the tickling. Shizuka denies acting any different because of their presence, but Kairin challenges her, pointing out that Shizuka was the only one who refrained from seeking a deeper connection with Rintaro during the game, merely poking him when she had the chance to touch more. Karain jumps in, questioning Shizuka's timid approach, labeling it foolish, with Hikari adding that Shizuka's hesitation was likely due to Karain's own intimidating behavior. Karain defensively denies this, with Hikari making a biting remark about Karain's obliviousness to her own loudness. Shizuka then confesses her reluctance to overstep, as Rintaro was already in a relationship with the others before her arrival. Kairin acknowledges this but stresses that Shizuka is now equally his girlfriend, expressing frustration at Shizuka's self-restraint. Kairin argues that it's unpleasant to see Shizuka holding back her true desires. Hikari calls out this perceived double standard, accusing Kairin of often masking her own feelings to maintain her kindness facade. Kairin snaps back, warning Hikari to silence unless she's looking for a quarrel. As the tension mounts, Shizuka attempts to apologize, only to be sharply rebuked by Kairin for her repetitiveness, which she finds equally irritating. The argument escalates until Hikari suggests that Kairin would be just as irritated with any other response from Shizuka, prompting Kairin to threaten real anger. Amidst the heated exchange, Shizuka decides to be frank, stating that their desire for honesty has led her to confront a paralyzing fear, an admission that brings a somber note to the confrontation, as Kairin is touched by her vulnerability. Kairin's self-reflection leads Shizuka to admit her admiration for the others and her own feelings of inadequacy. Shizuka's candidness about feeling lesser next to Hikari's grace and Kairin's poise reveals her deep-seated fears of not measuring up. This raw honesty endears her to Hikari and Kairin, who come to see Shizuka not as competition, but as a kindred spirit. They assure her, pointing out her own quiet charm and beauty. This strengthens their bond and leads to a collective reassurance that Rintaro's affections are rooted in more than just their external qualities. They agree to an equal partnership in their relationship with Rintaro, with Hikari's suggestion to use first names marking their unity. While Rintaro is absent from this exchange, he reflects positively on their progress, but remains aware of the undercurrents of tension, particularly regarding Kairin's previously displayed anger. Rintaro's tactic with the monkey game is a clever move to promote openness in the group, preventing emotional rifts. His retreat to the bathroom allows the girls space to tackle their own issues, revealing Kairin's tough stance as a push for Shizuka's candidness, and Hikari's intervention as protective, fostering a sense of unity among them. Shizuka's bold request for a kiss marks a pivotal moment of self-honesty, challenging her own reticence. Rintaro's initial tender response and subsequent kiss affirm their mutual affection, furthering their emotional connection. Hikari nudges Kairin to drop her guard, leading to a typical tsundere reaction where her outward aloofness slowly gives way to her genuine affection for Rintaro, despite her claims otherwise. The laughter and varied reactions following these events, Shizuka's shyness, Kairin's hidden jealousy, Hikari's forthrightness weave a rich tapestry of evolving relationships. Rintaro's playful acknowledgement of Kairin's embarrassment highlights the endearing qualities in each girl's unique way of handling their emotions. In this light-hearted narrative, these moments underscore themes of truthfulness, vulnerability, and the diverse expressions of emotion, with Rintaro at the heart, skillfully nurturing and navigating these intimate connections. So she starts to hit him, and finally, Rintaro says that he wants to kiss her too. After all, if it's not him asking for the deal, it won't even happen. And then he asks if she wants it too, and even though she is very reluctant, Korean answers yes. And then the two kiss, and after kissing all three of them, he looks stupid looking at the sky and Haka asks what he has and Ro says that they are such great girlfriends that he considers it a waste for them to be with him. And he says he's grateful for the three of them. And the girl's interpretation of this line varies from silly to too sincere, and the three of them start laughing at the situation. And this was another video on the channel. If you liked it and want more videos like this, subscribe and leave a like. See you in the next one.